The Science of Getting Rich, Financial Success Through Creative Thought by Wallace D. Wattles. I will be reading excerpts from the book. Whatever may be said in praise of poverty, the fact remains that it is not possible to live a really complete or successful life unless one is rich. Man must have money in order to become the possessor of things. Therefore, the basis of all advancement for man must be the science of getting rich. It is our right to be rich. No man ought to be satisfied with a little if he is capable of using and enjoying more. Success in life is becoming what you want to be. You can become what you want to be only by making use of things, and you can have the free use of things only as you become rich enough to buy them. The desire for riches is really the desire for a richer, fuller, and more abundant life. There are three motives for which we live. We live for the body, we live for the mind, we live for the soul. Desire is possibility-seeking expression or function-seeking performance. He cannot live fully in mind without books and time to study them, without opportunity for travel and observation, or without intellectual companionship. To live fully in soul, man must have love, and love is denied expression by poverty. The man who has nothing to give cannot fill his place as a husband or father, as a citizen, or as a man. There is a science of getting rich, and it is an exact science, like algebra or arithmetic. There are certain laws which govern the process of acquiring riches. Once these laws are learned and obeyed by any man, he will get rich with mathematical certainty. The ownership of money and property comes as a result of doing things in a certain way. Getting rich is not a matter of environment. Some environments may be more favorable than others, but when two men in the same business are in the same neighborhood and one gets rich while the other fails, it indicates that getting rich is the result of doing things in a certain way. Getting rich is not the result of saving or thrift, nor is getting rich due to doing things which others fail to do. Getting rich is the result of doing things in a certain way. Talented people get rich, and blockheads get rich. Intellectually brilliant people get rich, and very stupid people get rich. Physically strong people get rich, and weak and sickly people get rich. Location counts for something. One would not go to the heart of the Sahara and expect to do successful business. Getting rich involves the necessity of dealing with men. If anybody else in your town can get rich, so can you. It is not a matter of choosing some particular business or profession. It is true that you will do best in a business which you like. Also, you will do best in a business which is suited to your locality. No one is prevented from getting rich by lack of capital. The getting of capital is a part of the process of getting rich. Like causes must produce like effects. If you have no capital, you can get capital. If you are in the wrong business, you can get in the right business. If you are in the wrong location, you can get into the right location. There is abundance of opportunity for the man who will go with the tide instead of trying to swim against it. No one is kept in poverty by shortness in the supply of riches. There is more than enough for all. The visible supply is practically inexhaustible, and the invisible supply is really inexhaustible. Everything you see on earth is made from one original substance, out of which all things proceed. New forms are constantly being made. The old ones are dissolving, but all are shapes assumed by one thing. The formless stuff responds to the needs of man. It will not let him be without any good thing. The formless stuff is intelligent. It is stuff which thinks. It is alive, and it is always impelled towards more life. The universe is a great living presence. There can be no lack unless God is to contradict himself and nullify his own works. Thought is the only power which can produce tangible riches from the formless substance. Original substance moves according to its thoughts. Every form and process you see in nature is the visible expression of a thought in original substance. As the formless stuff thinks of a form, it takes that form. As it thinks of a motion, it makes that motion. This is the way things were created. We live in a thought world, which is part of a thought universe. Thinking substance takes the form of its thought and moves according to the thought, holding the idea of a circling system of suns and worlds. Every thought of form held in thinking substance causes the creation of the form. No thought of form can be impressed upon original substance without causing the creation of the form. Man is a thinking center and can originate thought. All the forms that man fashions with his hands must first exist in his thought. He cannot shape a thing until he has thought that thing. Men must become able to think in a certain way. A man's way of doing things is the direct result of the way he thinks about things. To think what you want to think is to think truth, regardless of appearances. To look upon the appearances of poverty will produce corresponding forms in your own mind. Unless you hold to the truth that there is no poverty, there is only abundance. To think health when surrounded by the appearances of disease, or to think riches when in the midst of appearances of poverty, requires power. But he who acquires this power becomes a mastermind. He can conquer fate. He can have what he wants. An intelligent substance, which is all and in all, and which lives in all and lives in you, is a consciously living substance. A seed dropped into the ground springs into activity, and then the act of living produces 100 more seeds. Life, by living, multiplies itself. It is forever becoming more. It must do so if it continues to be at all. Intelligence is under the same necessity for continuous increase. Every thought we think makes it necessary for us to think another thought. Consciousness is continually expanding. In order to know more, do more, and be more, we must have more. We must have things to use, for we learn and do and become only by using things. We must get rich so that we can live more. It is the desire of God that you should get rich. He can live more in you if you have unlimited command of the means of life. The universe desires. You have everything you want to have. Nature is friendly to your plans. Everything is naturally for you. Make up your mind that this is true. You want to get rich in order that you may eat, drink, and be merry when it is time to do these things. But remember that extreme altruism is no better and no nobler than extreme selfishness. Both are mistakes. Give every man more in use value than you take from him in cash value. If you want a sewing machine, hold the mental image of it with the most positive certainty that is being made, or is on its way to you. After once forming a thought, have the most absolute and unquestioning faith that the sewing machine is coming. Never think of it or speak of it in any other way as being sure to arrive. Claim it as already yours. It will be brought to you by the power of the Supreme Intelligence acting upon the minds of men. Do not forget for a moment that the thinking substance is through all, in all, communicating with all, and can influence all. To permit your mind to dwell upon the inferior is to become inferior and to surround yourself with inferior things. To fix your attention on the best is to surround yourself with the best and to become the best. The creative power within us makes us into the image of that to which we give our attention. We are thinking substance, and thinking substance always takes the form of that which it thinks about. See the things you want as if they were actually around you all the time. See yourself as owning and using them. Take possession of it in mind, in the full faith that it is actually yours. Hold to this mental ownership. Do not waver for an instant in the faith that it is real. The man who can sincerely thank God for the things which as yet he owns only in imagination has real faith. You do not need to pray repeatedly for things you want. It is not necessary to tell God about it every day. Imagine an environment and a financial condition exactly as you want them, and live all the time in that imaginary environment and financial condition. Hold to the faith that the imaginary is being realized, and to the purpose to realize it. Every hour and moment you spend in giving heed to doubts and fears, every hour you spend in worry, every hour in which your soul is possessed by unbelief, sets a current away from you in the whole domain of intelligent substance. If you want to become rich, you must not make a study of poverty. Do not talk about poverty. Do not investigate it or concern yourself with it. Never mind what its causes are. You have nothing to do with them. You must not try to eradicate poverty in any of the conventional ways. Put poverty behind you and put all that pertains to it behind you and make good. Get rich. That is the best way you can help the poor. What tends to do away with poverty is not getting pictures of poverty into your mind, but getting pictures of wealth into the minds of the poor. The poor do not need charity, they need inspiration. Put poverty and all things that pertain to poverty completely behind you. Do not read religious books which tell you that the world is soon coming to an end. And do not read the writing of muckrakers and pessimistic philosophers who tell you that it is going to the devil. Give your attention wholly to riches. Ignore poverty. Whatever you think or speak of those who are poor, think and speak of those who are becoming rich. There is never any time but now. Put your whole mind into present action. Do not think that you must postpone action. Whatever your action is to be, it is evident that you must act now. You cannot act in the past, and it is essential to the clearness of your mental vision that you dismiss the past from your mind. You cannot act in the future, for the future is not here yet, and you cannot tell how you will want to act in any future contingency until that contingency has arrived. You cannot act where you are not. You cannot act where you have been, and you cannot act where you are going to be. You can only act where you are. Do not wait for a change of environment before you act. Get a change of environment by action. Hold with faith and purpose the vision of yourself in the better environment, but act upon your present environment with all your heart and with all your strength and with all your mind. Hold to the one vision of what you want and act now. Do every day all that can be done that day. You cannot foresee the results of even the most trivial act. You do not know the workings of all the forces that have been set moving on your behalf. You are not to overwork, nor to rush blindly into your business in the effort to do the greatest possible number of things in the shortest possible time. It is really not the number of things you do, but the efficiency of each separate action that counts. Every act is, in itself, either a success or a failure. Every act is, in itself, either effective or ineffective. The more things you do, the worse for you, if all your acts are inefficient ones. The cause of failure is doing too many things in an inefficient manner and not doing enough things in an efficient manner. Mistakes come from acting hastily or from acting in fear or doubt. As you go on in the certain way, opportunities will come to you in increasing number. Do all that you can do in a perfect manner every day, but do it without haste, worry, or fear. Go as fast as you can, but never hurry. Whenever you find yourself hurrying, call a halt. Fix your attention on the mental image of the thing you want, and begin to give thanks that you are getting it. Guard your speech. Never speak of yourself, your affairs, or of anything else in a discouraged or discouraging way. Never admit the possibility of failure, or speak in a way that infers failure as a possibility. Never speak of the times as being hard, or of business conditions as being doubtful. Train yourself to think of and to look upon the world as a something which is becoming, which is growing, and to regard seeming evil as being only that which is undeveloped. Always speak in terms of advancement. To do otherwise is to deny your faith, and to deny your faith is to lose it. There is a thinking stuff from which all things are made, and which in its original state permeates, penetrates, and fills the inner spaces of the universe. A thought in this substance produces the thing that is imagined by the thought. Man can form things in his thought, and by impressing his thought upon formless substance, can cause the thing he thinks about to be created. Gratitude unifies the mind of man with the intelligence of substance, so that man's thoughts are received by the formless. Man must form a clear and definite mental image of the things he wishes to have, to do, or to become, and he must hold this mental image in his thoughts, while being deeply grateful to the Supreme that all his desires are granted to him. The man who wishes to get rich must spend his leisure hours in contemplating his vision. Faith does not waver. He must do every day all that can be done that day, taking care to do each act in a successful manner. The men and women who practice the foregoing instructions will certainly get rich, and the riches they receive will be in exact proportion to the definiteness of their vision, the fixity of their purpose, the steadiness of their faith, and the depth of their gratitude. Thank you for watching.